You are the master of your fate. Let's begin. I want you to be honest with me. You've read the books, you've listened to the tapes, you have the notes, the quotes, and the mental frameworks. You know exactly what you should be doing, but you don't. And that feeling, that silent chasm between what you know and what you do, that is the most frustrating, most dangerous place in the world to be. You have a blueprint for a life you're not living, and every day that passes, the space between the two grows wider. I have seen men with all the knowledge in the world fail. They knew the books, they attended the seminars, they studied the masters, but their lives were built on sand. Why? Because the great secret is not in what you know, but in what you do. I'm going to show you that a chasm exists between your knowledge and your reality. We're going to walk right up to the edge of that chasm, and then I'm going to give you the blueprint to build a bridge across it. This is not about more information. This is about the great leap from awareness to action. This is about the quantum leap. I have to tell you something that many of you already feel in your bones. Information is not power. Information is only potential power. A man can spend a lifetime collecting every book, every course, every piece of advice, and he can still die a failure. Why? Because the great secret is not in what you know, but in what you do. Let's look at a man I knew. Let's call him Thomas. He had a mind like a steel trap. He could recite the principles of success from every great book ever written. He knew about definiteness of purpose. He understood the mastermind principle. He could explain the law of attraction in a way that made perfect sense. He was, in a way, a walking encyclopedia of success. But he was broke. He worked a job he hated. He had no grand purpose, no mastermind group, and he attracted nothing but more of the same frustration. Why did this happen? Because Thomas fell into what I call the library trap. He built a grand library in his mind, but a library is not a fortress. It is not a home. It is just a collection of facts. He mistook the act of gathering information for the act of building a life. He felt the thrill of learning something new and confused that feeling with actual progress. It felt like he was moving forward, but he was only pacing in place. And this leads to a dangerous illusion, the comfort of planning. You can spend a lifetime drawing up a perfect map without ever taking a single step on the road. You can create a business plan so detailed it would impress a banker, yet never make a single sales call. This is a form of sophisticated procrastination. It feels like you're being productive. You're thinking, you're strategizing, you're filling notebooks. But you are not moving. You are caught in a hypnotic state of motion without movement. I want you to feel this. I want you to sit with it for a moment. What has all your knowledge truly cost you? The business you never started, the conversation you never had, the creative project you left unfinished. The price of inaction is not paid in money, but in the currency of regret. It is paid with the quiet, nagging feeling that you are capable of so much more, but you have not yet found the courage to begin. You cannot think your way to success. You must act your way to it. The time for gathering facts is over. The time for taking the first step is now. So, if knowing isn't enough, what stops us from doing? The greatest barrier isn't a lack of information. It's a series of silent, psychological enemies that sabotage our will. I've watched men of great potential fall to these hidden foes time and again. The first enemy is analysis paralysis. This is the trap where you become so obsessed with gathering every last detail that you never start. It's the man who needs one more piece of market data before launching his business, or the woman who needs to read 5 more books on painting before she ever puts a brush to a canvas. They aren't trying to prepare, they're trying to hide. They tell themselves, I'm just being thorough, but what they're truly doing is using research as an excuse to avoid the risk of starting. Their mind is a crowded room of unorganized facts, and in the chaos they find comfort in doing nothing at all. Then there is the comfort zone trap. The human mind despises the unknown. Even if you are stagnant, even if you are unhappy, the known territory of your life, with all its frustrations and disappointments, feels safer than the open field of a new beginning. Change, even for the better, is a form of death. It requires you to kill off an old version of yourself and embrace a new, unfamiliar one. And so, your subconscious mind, in its misguided attempt to protect you, creates excuses for you to stay put. It tells you it's not the right time, or Maybe things aren't so bad after all. It tells you these lies because it is terrified of the unknown. Finally, the most insidious enemy of all, the fear of failure and success. You all know the fear of failure. It is the imagined sting of defeat, the shame of falling short. But what about the fear of success? It sounds strange, I know, but it is very real. Success demands more of you. It requires you to grow, to accept new responsibilities, to live a bigger life. It can bring judgment, new expectations, and the pressure to maintain your position. So, subconsciously, a part of you resists the very success you claim to desire. This fear is a silent anchor, keeping you in place so you don't have to face the uncomfortable truths that come with achieving your dreams. You tell yourself you're afraid to fail, but the truth is you're often just as afraid to win. These enemies are not a lack of willpower, they are psychological roadblocks. You cannot fight them with motivation alone. You must first see them for what they are, and then you must take the first step in spite of them. Now that you see the enemies for what they are, let's talk about the first law of overcoming them. It's not about thinking harder or planning more. It's about a simple primal act, movement. Your mind wants to see the whole mountain. It wants to know every twist in the trail, every rock, every steep grade before you even put on your boots. But I am not asking you to climb a mountain today. I am asking you to find one small stone on the path, one email, one call, one single hour of focused work. This is the power of the smallest step. I've seen this work with men who are paralyzed by the thought of building a great company. I would tell them, just make one phone call, just write one page, just take one step. They would protest, saying it was too small, too insignificant. But the truth is, the most important action you will ever take is the very first one, because it proves to yourself that you are capable of action. It breaks the hypnotic spell of inaction. It tells your mind, I am a doer. Your first action might seem small, but it's the spark that ignites the momentum engine. Do you know how a train starts to move? Not with a single violent lurch, but with a slow, grinding force. Each turn of the wheel builds upon the last. The initial effort is the greatest, but once the momentum builds, it becomes an unstoppable force. Your first action will be small, but it will create that initial momentum. And momentum, not perfection, is the true engine of progress. This brings us to the power of now. There is no other time. There is only now. All the knowledge you have is a weapon, but it is useless until you pick it up. You can have the perfect plan to start your business, but if you don't make the first call today, that plan is nothing but ink on paper. The universe doesn't care about what you're going to do. It only rewards what you do. The time for gathering facts is over. The time for taking the first step is this very moment. Movement is the beginning, but sustained action requires a specific kind of thinking, the mind of the doer. It's not enough to simply take a step. You must understand why. You are taking it and how to keep going when the initial fire fades. The first strategic tool is your why as a fuel. Knowing what to do is a map. Knowing why you are doing it is the fuel for the engine. Your deepest desires, your most powerful purpose. That is the very energy you need to bridge the gap. I saw this with my friend Andrew Carnegie. He didn't just work, he worked to build something that would outlast him, to create a legacy of steel that would build the modern world. His why, his purpose, was his relentless fuel. You must connect your daily action to your profound purpose, or the will to act will wither and die. Next, you must build an accountability wall. A man who is accountable only to himself is often a man who forgives himself too easily. You must build a wall of accountability around yourself. Tell a partner. Announce your plan to a mastermind group. When you make a public commitment, you activate a powerful psychological force, the need to honor your word. This isn't about shame, it's about giving yourself something to live up to. It's a promise you can't break without breaking your own trust. This external pressure becomes an internal motivator, keeping you on the path even when your own discipline wanes. Finally, you must master the law of repetition. My dear friend Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb with a single act of genius. He failed thousands of times, but each failure was a single action, an experiment that led to another. He believed in a relentless series of disciplined actions, not a single flash of inspiration. The greatest ideas in the world, if they are not repeated, will die on the vine. Repetition is the mother of all skill. It is the steady practice that turns a small step into a habit, and a habit into a lifestyle. Do not look for the grand gesture. Look for the daily discipline. That is where true power resides. The final piece of the puzzle is about more than just starting. It is about how you sustain this new way of living until it becomes who you are. The true quantum leap is not a single jump. It is the moment you shift from trying to act to simply being a doer. This is the principle of the momentum multiplier. Think of every action you take as a deposit. Every time you make that difficult phone call, every time you work on your project when you don't feel like it, you are not just completing a task, you are building a reservoir of self-belief. Action is the only way to build confidence. You don't get confidence by thinking about it or by wishing for it. You get it by earning it, one small win at a time. The more you act, the more self-belief you generate, and the more powerful your actions become. It's a virtuous cycle. Action fuels belief, and belief fuels greater action. But what happens when the path gets difficult? When plans fall apart and the vision seems to fade? This is where the builder's mindset comes in. A man who is building a cathedral does not complain about the size of a single brick. He sees the whole structure in his mind. You must not focus on the individual task or the temporary setback. You must hold the vision of your finished life, and every action, no matter how small, becomes a sacred act. A setback is not a defeat. It is a recalibration. The man who truly knows how to do also knows how to adapt. He does not stop because the path changed. He simply finds a new way forward. This quantum leap allows you to move beyond individual action and begin inspiring others by embodying the doing mindset. When you become a person of action, you don't just change your own life. You become a walking example of what is possible. You become a living testament to the fact that knowledge is useless without a relentless will to apply it. You won't have to preach or convince others. Your results will speak for themselves. You will prove that the gap between knowing and doing is not a permanent chasm, but a temporary challenge waiting for you to build a bridge across it. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. I want you to see the man or woman you could become, not the one who is just thinking about it, but the one who is doing it. The one who has a calm sense of purpose because they are in motion. They are not waiting for permission. They are not waiting for the perfect plan. They are building their life, one small deliberate action at a time. This isn't just about professional success. It's about finding peace. It's about ending the silent war inside yourself, the war between what you know you should do and what you actually do. It's about earning your own self-respect. Your mind already has the map. It is time to put your feet on the path. The chasm between knowing and doing is real, but it is not a permanent barrier. It is a temporary challenge waiting for you to build a bridge across it. The work begins now. Takeaways and action steps, the mindset shift. Understand that knowledge is a tool, not a result. Progress is measured by action, not by information consumed. You cannot think your way to a new life. You must act your way to it. Action step 1, the smallest brick. I want you to identify one single action you have been putting off. It doesn't matter how small it is. Today you will do only that one thing, nothing more. One email, one call, one single step. This is your first act of rebellion against the paralysis of knowing. Action step 2, the accountability pledge. Tell one person you trust about your action. This could be a friend, a mentor, or a member of your mastermind group. This creates a psychological contract that you must now honor. Action step 3, the why. Take 5 minutes to write down why. This action is so critical to your overall purpose. Connect this small single step to your grandest purpose. This is the fuel that will keep you going when the initial fire fades. Do not wait for a feeling of inspiration. Act your way into it. Remember, your success begins the moment you decide to act.